Welcome to the Math 1, Unit 7, Lesson 4, Summary Video, Ages and Wages. This lesson is a practice understanding task, which takes concepts you've been working on and applies them to new situations. The purpose of this lesson is to practice writing and simplifying binomials from contextual situations. Edgar is 6 years older than Patty, and Isabella is 2 years younger than Patty. Write two expressions for the product of Edgar and Isabella's age based on Patty's unknown age. So the first thing that we want to do is define our variables. We know that we have three people. We have Edgar and Patty and Isabella. And so if we assign a variable to each of them, we would have P for Patty, E for Edgar, and I for Isabella. Next, we need to come up with expressions to represent each of these people. Well, we don't know Patty's age, that's the unknown, so that's going to remain P. What we know about Edgar is that Edgar is 6 years older than Patty. 6 years older than Patty. We also know that Isabella is 2 years younger than Patty. And so at this point, we should be pretty comfortable writing an expression to represent those. So 6 years older than Patty would be taking Patty's age and adding 6 to it. That would represent Edgar. Isabella would be taking Patty's age and subtracting 2 from it. Next, it says write two expressions for the product of Edgar and Isabella's age based on Patty's unknown age. So we know that the product is what we get when we multiply two numbers or two expressions. And so we need to multiply Edgar's age and Isabella's age together and then simplify. So we're going to take the expressions that we've written for each of those two people. And as we learned in the last lesson, we could draw an area model to represent this, or we could also use the distributive property. So if we use the distributive property, we would multiply P times P to get P squared. Then we would take the P in the first binomial and multiply it times the second term in the second binomial, P times -2 to get -2P. And then we'll do the same thing with the 6. We'll multiply 6 times P to get 6P and 6 times -2 to get -12. Next, we're going to simplify our like terms, and we can see that we have -2P and 6P. Those are our like terms, so we can combine those together. And we end up with P squared plus 4P minus 12. This is what represents the product of Edgar and Isabella's age based on Patty's unknown age. Number 2 says Fran is twice Patty's age and Roberto is 4 less than 3 times Patty's age. Write two expressions for the product of Fran and Roberto's age based on Patty's unknown age. So we're going to do the same sort of thing here. The very first thing we'll do, again, is to define some of these variables, and then we are going to highlight some important information from the problem. We know that Fran is twice Patty's age, and so to represent twice Patty's age, we would take Patty's age P and multiply it by 2. And then we know that Roberto is 4 less than 3 times Patty's age. So 4 less than means that we're going to take 4 away from something. We're going to take it away from 3 times Patty's age. So that looks like this. 3 times Patty's age minus 4. 4 less than 3 times Patty's age. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did in the previous problem. We're going to write the two expressions. We're going to come up with two expressions that represent the product of Fran and Roberto's age. So here's one expression. We're multiplying those two together. And then when we simplify, we'll get a second expression. We're going to use the distributive property again. 2p times 3p is 6p squared, and 2p times negative 4 is negative 8p. And in problem number 3, it says write and simplify an expression that represents the sum. We know sum is what we get when we add expressions together. The sum of all their ages, including Patty's, based on Patty's unknown age. So we're going to take the expression that we wrote for Edgar, the expression we wrote for Isabella, along with P for Patty, the expression that we wrote for Fran, and the expression that we wrote for Roberto. We're going to add all of those expressions together. And so when we do that, we get this really long expression. And then we're going to simplify or by combining our like terms. And so what we see is that we have one P here, and we've got another P here, and another P here, and then we've got 2 P's here, and 3 P's here. Remember, terms are parts of the expression that are separated by addition or subtraction. And when we are looking to combine our like terms, we're taking the sign or the operation that's in front of the term, not the operation behind it. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 P's. Likewise, we will combine our constants. And so when we look at our constants, we've got 6 here and minus 2. 6 minus 2 would be 4. And then minus 4 would give me 0. So we ended up with 8p plus 0. And so our expression that represents the sum of all of their ages, including Patty's, would be 8p. Next, we're going to jump over to number 7. You should be able to complete 4 through 6 on your own using the same strategies that we just used for 1 through 3. And we're going to do half of number 7. So number 7 says that if Patty is a 25-year-old waitress who makes $8 per hour, find the ages and wages of all of her friends. Well, you're going to come up with the expressions for her wages as well as the products of those expressions in problems 4 through 6. So for this one, we're just going to focus on the age of Patty and all of her friends, as that's what we focused on with problems 1 through 3. So you'll see on the screen that I've already put up the expressions that we came up with for Patty and her 4 friends. And if we're given the information that Patty is 25 years old, we're going to substitute 25 in place of P. Because remember, a variable represents an unknown value, and when we're given the value, it's no longer unknown, so we can then substitute our variable with that given value. And when we do that for Patty, we're told that Patty's 25, so we're substituting 25 in for P. With Edgar, it's going to look like this, 25 plus 6. With Isabella, it'll be 25 minus 2. Fran will be 25 times 2. And Roberto will be 3 times 25 minus 4. And when we simplify each of these expressions, we will determine each person's age. So Patty is 25 years old. Edgar is 25 plus 6, or 31 years old. Isabella will be 23 years old. Fran, 50 years old. And Roberto, 71 years old.